What's up guys, Max here and welcome back to my dungeon. Today I have a quick and unexpected video for you since I had to buy this card for a friend that lives in another country and before sending him back the card he allows me to do some benchmark and play a bit. So today I just want to play some World of Warcraft, show you some real world scenario. I will try to do some battleground or something that is going to stress a bit the card. I'm going to try a bit of resolution, and well, in the next days I will prepare the usual video with the charts and numbers, but for today it's just about some gameplay. But now let's get straight to the point. The base system, as you can see here, is a Ryzen 7 5800X. That is actually the best, the fastest CPU to run World of Warcraft. Of course, we have our RX 6700 XT, the Crosshair 8 Hero. The memory is tuned to 3800 MHz C14 with tight subtimings. So again, this is the best memory setup you can run World of Warcraft. Latest driver, latest Windows version, and well, again now we are in Boralus. This card I think is meant for QHD, so 1440p, and is doing very nice at 180 FPS. So this is not overcrowded, but the CPU is pushing a lot, and the GPU is just about at 95 100%. So take a look at this. It's a lot of FPS, so you can even play at with a higher refresh rate than 144 Hz. So this combo is a good one if you have a QHD display, especially if you are a rider or something else. Anyway, let's try a bit other resolution. 4K. So in 4K now, the FPS is not that low. In fact, I was expecting a bigger bump, but well, this is a nice zone for a GPU. I tested today this GPU in Ardenweald, and well, is not ready for a 4K 144 Hz. Still a good card for QHD, but if you have a 4K 144 Hz display like the one I'm using, you better look to a bigger card. But so far, if you have like a 4K 60 Hz television, this card will do really great. So as you can see, we are almost limited by the CPU. Now if I go to 1080p, you will see that this card is way overkilled. So we are approaching 100 and 200 FPS even. So yes, uh, if you have a 2400 sorry, 240 Hz display, maybe it's okay to play with that. But again, now we are really entering the CPU limited area. So now I'm going to the Maw, I'm going to play a bit there, and I'm going to queue for a BG. I will reset the resolution to QHD, since if you buy this card, the best combo is a QHD display, 144 or 165 Hz. Okay, we are in the Maw now, doing the Lost Soul quest. I'm going to reset this counter here. As you can see, QHD, everything maxed out. Now I'm using vertical sync disabled to show you the uncapped FPS, and yes, we have 2.6 GHz on the core, which is high. I did some benchmark overclocked, and I can tell you that it's like overclocking this card will be like 2750, 2850, so minimum and maximum to overclock the card, and is going to get like 10% more. So not bad, but honestly, you don't really need to overclock the card since you have to test for the stability and so on and so forth. This is a good card anyway. Now I'm going. Okay, I want to reset again just in case. I'm going to fight a bit. I'm going to speed up the video. When I finish the quest, as always, if you see my other video, I will stop the counter and we will decide if it's a good card or not at this resolution and refresh rate. Okay, so I finished my quest and I am 153 on average and 63 1% low and 47.1% low. And this is actually weird, since usually those two are a bit higher. What I want to do now is to check, because sometimes, even if you see a constant, almost constant clock in the core, sometimes there's an issue with the AMD cards that if we manually set a higher minimum, that usually is like 500, 600, the overall performance is going to be better. So the thing I'm going to do now is to go to manual here and raise this one to a higher one. So we don't need to overclock much the card. Let's say uh, 2700 and 2600. So just a little bit to have to force the clock not going lower than some amount. Okay, now I will restart this. Let's see if this little trick will do the job. No, it won't. Anyway, okay, sometimes it's useful, sometimes not. So if you have some micro stuttering or stuttering problem, you can try that. Sometimes it will solve the issue, but in this case, no. We still have a low 1%, 0.1% low. Honestly, I don't know why. As I told you, usually when you have like 170 here, you are like at 100, 110 for the 1% low. Anyway, still the experience was pretty good. So yes, for QHD is definitely a good card. Overclock at 1080p, and if I want to play here in 4K, 90 FPS, still 80. Okay, decent, but well, not enough if you have a high refresh rate. I have G-Sync enabled now, and well, it's not as smooth as is at QHD. So now I go in Ardenweald, I queue in the BG, and we wait and we do some roaming around Ardenweald. In the meantime, we get into the BG. I was about to start the BG, but as you can see here, I crashed. So I was at the fault, so the car was not even with the small trick that I showed you before. So I think there's some kind of driver issue that is kind of normal for AMD. So I really would like to see a newer release to see if we solve this really weird issue here and the car that crashed at default. So that wasn't a good start. But anyway, so here we are in the worst spot of the game. So I'm at QHD, 130 FPS on this side, and on the bad side we have 70. So okay, it's fine. It's fine. Let's see what happens at Full HD. So 160 FPS. So the card is at 100%, so we are not CPU limited, and 90 FPS on the worst side. So what you see here is like the worst case scenario in all the games. So this is really the worst spot ever. And now I'm gonna try 4K. So we have 90 FPS on the good side and 60 FPS, 50 on the bad side. So yes, I suggest you to pair this card with a QHD display, so 1440p, no more than that, just to be able to play if you have a high refresh rate. If you have a 60 hertz display, even a 4K will be okay. So yeah, now I want to wait a bit because the system crashed to enter again the BG, and I will show you the BG. Okay, seems that I found what was causing the issue, and it was a dual monitor setup. In my case, I have my main display and the HDMI connected to my acquisition card in the second PC. And when I have two output, it seems that I have micro stutters, so that 1% and 0.1% low are going to drop drastically. So yes, this is an issue that I want to find out how to solve it, since I bet more than once we'll stream with an acquisition card or a second PC, or I have a dual display setup. So I will try to look into it like right now and see what happens. Now I'm gonna try to connect my DisplayPort display. Okay, we have a freeze. I reset the counter. See if it lasts. No, still the issue. I did some tests, but it seemed that when I connect two output, I have really bad 1 and 0.1% loss. This is something that I'm going to look in the next days, and I will probably make a separate video about that. So in the meantime, I'm going to use only one output, and I'm going to try to enter the battleground. Okay, so we are now in the BG, 1440p, quality 10, only one display output, so in this case I should not have any issue here, except the usual issue with EVG. So I reset the counter, and let's start. So far we are still CPU bound. CPU and CPU are going good. And we won this battle. Well, not great, but still very nice playable. Okay, last fight. I reset the counter. Alright, and we won. So, the card, as you can see here, is okay. At this resolution, play in Battleground is more than okay. We was limited a bit by the CPU, of course, but the card is perfect. 70% is a nice performance. I will try to find a fix for the issue of the dual display, and that's it. Alright, so far we've seen that this card is quite good for QHD, but we will see the full benchmarking set in comparison with other cards in a couple of days. So stay tuned, subscribe, like, usual stuff, and see you in the next one.